W's and L's, the weekly recap show. We give a dub to the things that we do like and a L to the things that we do not. I'll go first. Let me start off with a toss up. So I'm watching a clip of, I believe it was I Am Athlete. At this point, I can't tell whether I'm watching an I Am Athlete clip or the Pivot clip. One of them decided to interview Mikey Williams, high school recruit. And he's on there and he's talking about the fact that one of his biggest goals is to become a billionaire by the time he's 25.
Trying to be worth $1 billion by the time I'm 25. Ooh. 25. So 7 years. In 7 years, with me, I got bread right now. I'm making investments like now, but it's not, I'm trying to have bread to where I'm making $50 million investments, right? And that's turning into 500 million, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Who's going to give you that amount of money? How are you going to earn that amount of money before you're 25? I feel like when I was a kid, I used to say silly shit like this to make people impressed with me. Like if I set outlandish goals for myself, I'd be like, oh man, people be like, oh man, he's a good young man. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
He's really smart. You're probably going to do it. No, the fuck you're not.
Literally, my nephew said this exact same thing, like, I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but he's 11. So
it's like, yeah, I want you to be impressed with me, so I'm going to tell you I have a really impressive goal. It's so naive and saying it out loud that I know that you don't understand how unrealistic of a goal it is. Like the fact that you don't understand that.
Yeah, like
makes
the
it
only
even
people
more...
that I know who have made $1 billion at such a young age are people like Kylie Jenner who have already
came from millions.
Yeah.
Who already came from millions.
So it's a little tough to be like, okay, you don't have that much now. Like Mikey Williams, high school recruit,
but also
may have some bread, but not anywhere enough to
maybe I'm
manifest
selling
that.
him short. Does he have some other skill other than basketball, or does he plan on
that I'm
like
aware
gaining
of.
some other degree of some sort?
Not that I'm aware.
You know what I mean? Or was it just I'm going to earn $1 billion playing basketball? You would be earning more than any other athlete ever. Ever. Period.
I think
playing basketball.
The other thing is like you need to be honing in on being the number one basketball player before you can even think to attain
at that point. That's not even your number one. That's not even your biggest goal. You need to be the number one marketed basketball player.
Sure.
You need to be marketing yourself as
how does that usually
basketball
start?
Player. If you're trying to make $1 billion by 25, the basketball thing is going to has to take a back seat. You got to sell yourself.
And that's even worse, I feel like.
Yeah.
You're either going to have to start doing clout chasing shit like what we just saw to get in front of as many people to make that, or you're going to have to be the number one guy and wait maybe a little while. It's not going to come all at once.
Even as being the number one guy in the league, that doesn't guarantee you $1 billion.
No, it doesn't.
You know, it's just a very outlandish goal.
But I just think that's where you have to start. But people do have the opportunities to make a lot more money nowadays than what they were making.
Cumulatively,
but
over time,
I think the $1 billion by 25 specifically is a little
sounds silly.
A little bit. I am going to go ahead and give an L to. There's been a couple high profile people. Or a couple high profile stories about people getting fired for doing OnlyFans in their off time.
Yikes.
Namely, at least for me, the one that I know the story about is what I told you earlier. The nurse who got fired for doing OnlyFans in her off time had nothing to do with her full-time job of being a nurse. But because a team of nurses were on the job watching some of her content, I guess, and, talking about homegirl, the hospital decided it was best to let the girl go, despite the fact that these people are
watching
clearly
porn on the job,
on your time,
distracted,
fully distracted from doing their job.
She closed the door, I walked in, she closed the door, and she was like, "I gotta let you go." Like, I was waiting for her to tell me why she was letting me go. Like, she didn't say anything, so I was like, "For what? Like, why are you letting me go?" She said, "It's came to my attention of what your main income is and what you do online and how you're this big social media person." She said, "I knew about your occupation a couple months ago, but you weren't really that big, so it wasn't really a big deal to me, and I can't really fire somebody for doing what you do." Then she proceeded to say that you know, it wasn't a big deal a couple months ago when she found out because no one was talking about it. Well, I guess every time that I've been working lately, that the CNAs and the nurses have been talking about me at the nurses station while I'm in a patient's room. Okay, well, I am always doing care on somebody. They're at the nurses station looking at my Instagram, looking at my Twitter, looking at my site. Like, they paid for my site so they all could see and look at the nurses station while they're on the clock.
I think if a person is doing something on their own time, there should not be a grounds for termination, you know.
Politics
As long
often
as
get
it's-
in the way of morality, which makes politics such a fascinating venture, really, really, honestly, because it's the thing that drives the virtue in any country, in any society, really. But it is so amoral. It really is. It just never really lines up to any clearly defined pattern of consistent behavior.
Yeah.
Politics is an ebbing and flowing. It is not really anything that you can measure, and it drives things that are so amoral. Like, okay, she's a OnlyFans worker. Maybe you feel like that's conduct unbecoming of a nurse, but then the nurse is sitting in the nursing bay watching porn. Is what acceptable? It's what? Come on, man. So fire the lady for doing acts that you deem unfit off duty. It not at all in her capacity of being a nurse. But what happens to the people who are actually doing wrong while they are conducting their jobs as nurses?
Well, the distraction is removed, so you know we can keep them.
It's bass backwards, man. Bass backwards.
1,000%.
And it's all around based around being political. Oh, we can't have an OnlyFans worker as a nurse.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it's not harming you
I think
as
you
a
have
company.
several more.
That's
You have
crazy.
several more.
Yeah, it's not harming you as a company. It's not like she used one of the patient rooms for a scene. You know, it's a little much. She did what she did on her own time whenever she wanted to. So, not grounds for termination. Want to give an L to, I guess, some of ASU staff for trying to get Herm Edwards fired. Black coach.
Fam, that is absolutely nuts.
Well, do you want to hear how they found out about?
Oh, yeah, I do want to hear. Yes, I didn't hear is what I was trying to say.
An opposing coach recently told The Athletic that it wasn't hard to get intel on this season's team because some within Arizona State Athletics wanted a coaching change. So effectively, they were giving information to opposing teams.
If you were on Herm Edwards' staff, you really shouldn't be hired anywhere. I would not hire a single person off of that staff.
Oh no, you can't trust that person.
I would not hire a single person off of that staff. Not a single one.
Mm-hmm.
Like it. That is so gross. You think about how bold you have to be, because not only are you doing that against your HC's back, but then you are signaling to other college football programs that we are so bad over here. We have so little confidence in this man that we will coordinate a loss with you. How do you think other college football programs view you? Like how they view the program is obvious after you tell them that. But then you as a coach, an assistant on this team, not only betraying the HC, but the players on the field. You could hurt the players on the field. If the other guys on the other side know exactly what you're going to do and you go into it full speed, you could hurt the players on the field. And I would never hire anybody off of that staff. If you were just off the simple fact that it got out and it was leaked and that's what was going on, I can't trust that you weren't one of those guys. That does say something about Herm Edwards because he hired these guys. But I would never hire any of these coaches on my coaching staff ever. You were willing to do that and put the guys at jeopardy, and put the kids at jeopardy, so that you can get a different head coach. Quit.
Yep.
Quit. And it actually, the way you read that, it sounds like there was somebody within the program, maybe not necessarily the coaches, but maybe they were the tool by which that information got leaked. But I'm saying, just for the simple fact that he hasn't been named, we don't know who it was. I'm not hiring anybody off that staff.
Well,
I'm not hiring anyone off that staff. I'm not taking the risk of that level of Judas?
Well, apparently 5 assistant coaches at ASU lost their job after the investigation. And their star quarterback transferred from the program, and many people are calling for Edwards to be fired for losing control.
He is fired. He got fired already.
Did he?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure. I think they fired him on the field.
Damn.
I think the AD was on the field after their latest loss and was kind of having a conversation with him, which is nuts.
Very much so.
Which is crazy.
I did not know Chad Johnson Jr. was playing for
Arizona State.
Yeah.
Transfer to Michigan, bro. We got you.
Okay.
Little Ocho Cinco Jr.
Yikes. All right.
We got you.
Gross. Okay. I think I got all the other L's out of the way. So this week we had decided to release a video like we always do. Every Thursday we have a main topic of some sort. And this time it was going to be Brett Favre, which kind of worked because Brett Favre was still kind of a hot topic, especially amongst the Ime Udoka comparisons in coverage. So I was like, oh, okay. All right, cool. So typically when I go to release a video, if it's going to be demonetized, I usually get an immediate update. Like it uploads and then they're like, oh, there's a little something sketchy here. They don't even tell you what it is, but there's a little something sketchy here, so we're going to demonetize it. Upon which I can request a review. When it does that upon immediate upload, I can request a review by the morning when I wake up. It's usually handled. This did not happen this time because when I woke up, that's when they decided to demonetize said video. And so I'm like, okay, well, it's going to be under review. It's probably going to take a couple extra hours. We'll see what happens. You text me at around, I think, 11 o'clock sometime, asking, what's going on with the video. And I'm like, well, it's under review, so, we'll see. Not that, I care so much about literally the money that we get from every video because it's usually a small amount. It's neither here nor there. But because typically, from what I've seen at least, it usually kind of impacts the performance of said videos, which I've come to find out that may not be the case.
No, I wouldn't say it like that just because you have an aberration to what you were already seeing.
Could be. Anyway, so all right, so we go from there. I then contact Google support, which handles YouTube videos as well. They said that they're going to get back to me within 24 hours. They eventually send me an email, but not before I also contact them again, contact them on Twitter, go into a whole Twitter barrage of different tweets that I've released. But then they finally get me an email later that day with literally no information I could go off of. More of the same vague bullshit of the system kind of flags these videos from time to time. So, it's usually
What
best.
What is these videos? What does that mean?
Not even these videos. They based off of the data that it's given from time to time, or if there's like graphic violence in the video, things like that, or nudity, obviously. Based off of things like that, it'll be automatically flagged. For the life of me, I don't understand. YouTube also gives us a self-grading opportunity to kind of tell what's going to be in the video before. And usually I click, oh, there's going to probably be a little profanity in it. But that doesn't usually do anything because we cuss. After all of that, got an email that was vague as shit. I decided to do my own investigation as to what could be possibly causing this. Came down to it could have been 2 things. One, Brett Favre is the title because I didn't even get a chance to change the title to what I wanted to change it to. A, Brett Favre is the title. B, the thumbnail, because I uploaded the Nigeria video that we had last week with the same thumbnail, and that for whatever reason also got demonetized. So whatever it could have been, it had to do with either A, the video being about Brett Favre, or B, the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Which the thumbnail was, you're going to demonetize us for having Karl Malone and Brett Favre and Richie Incognito in the thumbnail?
Yeah, YouTube.
The system is broken.
Yeah, for sure. I just want a faster response. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing to flag the video or to demonetize it. It's another thing to languish on for a whole day. You know what I mean? Like or I thought we were supposed. So when it's time to get the content down or to flag it or to demonetize it, it comes swift.
Yes.
But the response as to why there's no follow up, like it doesn't seem like there's any real infrastructure back there. It seems like you just have a goddamn computer bank of people working these videos as they pop up in whatever algorithm you got set to have these videos flagged. There's no notation. Like if I get demonetized or if my video gets flagged, there should be an automatic explanation to come along with that.
Yes.
It shouldn't be this arbitrary, oh, no, I don't like that one. I don't like that one. I'll get back to you later and tell you why. Oh, I don't like that one. I don't like that one. Yeah. Oh, wait, yeah, this one's from 2 days ago. I guess it's okay now. Okay, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's completely arbitrary.
And so to that point, it automatically flags it, doesn't tell you at any point why it's being flagged. And then I was being told, apparently, that the person who I had contacted first, they were going to respond to me after 24 hours, not the review that I had clicked. So the review actually takes 7 days.
Jesus.
And if I hadn't decided to just delete that video and then re-upload it, it'd probably still be pending review.
Yeah.
And even then, they probably wouldn't have told me what it was even over. They probably would have said, oh, you're green, you're good, or you're still demonetized.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't have told me what the fuck it was about. And so, yeah, no, we need some sort of actual correspondence as to what's going on with that shit, because that shit is bullshit. Luckily, I decided to actually say fuck it and release it anyway. But that's some bullshit, man. You got to do better. Way better.
It's YouTube for you.
Yeah. That is it for me.
All right. Here we go. So, pretty negative day at the office for me. I don't got no dubs.
Bruh, you've been negative for like the last 3 or 4 weeks. At least 3.
I had some dubs, though.
That's true.
I don't have any dubs. No.
That's fair. Well, I only had 1 dub.
Let's get to the negativity here. Joel Klatt is getting my first L this weekend. I want to turn an eye this week in our Dubs and L's section to the college football commentator turned podcaster pipeline that I think has popped off here in the last 2-3 years. You got your RJ Young, you got Joel Klatt, you got Greg McElroy. I actually enjoyed Greg McElroy's one.
I actually enjoyed Joe Klatt's one.
Who else has one? It's a bunch of them.
We need a Gus Johnson.
You can talk about Josh Pate and, late kick and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, you know all the names.
My boy, the punter from the Colts.
McAfee.
Pat McAfee, yeah.
McAfee, yeah. I like his too. Here's my gripe with it. It creates this scenario, right, where podcaster Joel will come out and he'll analyze the games for the week and he'll give his takes, right? And then now podcaster Joel, who has those same takes, is the commentator or the play-by-play guy on the broadcast. He's not the color guy, he's the play-by-play now. Keep that in mind. But now more and more you're starting to see the play-by-play guys giving their opinions, giving their takes within the game. And so what I'm watching now is Joel Klatt defending his takes from his podcast by continuously raving on about certain things that are going on in the game that may or may not be, I won't say relevant, but as bad as you would hear. Like if I was watching the game or if I was listening to the game instead of watching it, I would have thought that Maryland was just doing whatever the fuck they wanted on Michigan the entire game. Mm-hmm. The entire game, because you let Joel Klatt do it and they're having their way. They have no answer for Michigan, or excuse me, for Maryland right now. They're really gashing them on the 70 yards and a half. Their running back, Hemby, the guy who's the standout, 13 carries, 48 yards. Littleton, even less than him. Or he probably had, I think he had more yards, less carries. So he really drove the average up. But for the game, if you discount the two 20-yard scrambles by the backup quarterback while we're playing prevent and when there's less than a minute of the game, I hate prevent defense. But if you take, and I know I just said I hated this shit last week, but literally, those two runs give them 40 yards to 128 yard total for the game. I just told you that they ran for 70 in the first half. They ended up with 128 for the game.
What you're alleging is that because they have to in some way legitimize their podcast and their takes on their podcast, they'll say things during the game that may or may not even be actually true.
Because now that I've showed you the exaggeration of what was happening, actually we were seeing in front of our eyes. Remember back earlier this week, Joel Klatt, upset predictions on my upset list. I've got Maryland and Michigan because we just don't know about that defense. An offense that was averaging 40 points a game and well over 400 yards a game got less than 400. Probably would have been closer to 300 even if not for that last drive. An offense that was averaging 450 plus 40 yards per or 40 points per ends up scoring 27 and 397 total. Their all-star quarterback, 200 yards, 2 picks. It sounds like the team that was expected to explode offensively had a bad day, not the defense that was expected to dominate had a bad day. Did we give up some plays? Yeah, for sure. Were some glaring issues on the defensive side? I would say there are some things that definitely need to be fixed by the time we hit some I can't even say better competition. This is going to be one of the better offensive performances that we will see all season. So it's like, I feel like typically how you would view Michigan's win is like, hey, they had to win tough and they did it. The question about Michigan was when they get hit in the mouth, will they be able to respond? And they did. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't perfect, but they got it done. That is how I would typically shape that, or at least hear it. But if you're trying to defend your point about them being on upset special and it not really working out that way, then I'm probably hearing you all game describe it as, oh man, Michigan doesn't look good. Doesn't look good.
Because then at least you can qualify your takes.
Your takes. Thank you.
So how do you stop? How do you limit a clear conflict of interest?
First of all, how about the guy that's on TV 3 days a week, every week for an entire season? Probably doesn't need a fucking podcast for exposure. Now, if Joe Klatt wanted to do a podcast and it just lined up with a work opportunity, then hey, who am I to talk down? I'm just saying, the guy who's on television in front of millions of people every week probably doesn't need the extra exposure.
And all it's going to do is cater to.
It's going to continue to create these situations.
Yeah.
Right? Case in point, last year, Joel Klatt, all season. Yeah, I mean, the running game is great for Michigan, but they're really going to need this, that, and the third against Ohio State. They're really going to need this, that, and the third to win a Big Ten championship. They are not going to win a Big Ten championship playing this way. Was he right? He'll tell you he was wrong. He's admitted it himself on that same podcast. Dead ass wrong. Dead ass wrong. And he continued on after every big noon kickoff we played on Fox, saying the same thing over and over and over. After Northwestern, after Rutgers, they've really shown they've really got to do more in the passing game. They are not going to be able to win a championship ground and pound. So now I got to sit up here and watch him do what he did after the game every game last year. Do the same thing that he's going to do in the game. He's going to do that now in game. I'm going to hear him trying to qualify the takes that he had on his podcast earlier this week during the game.
Hey, as long as they're positive takes about Ohio State,
I don't like that dynamic. I don't like that dynamic at all. Because literally, if you were listening to that on the radio through Joel Klatt's calls, you would have thought Michigan was getting their ass drug. They had 13 points in a half. 13. 1 touchdown. You would have thought they were getting ran off the field.
At best they had some momentum, but that was the best it ever got.
All right, off of Joel Klatt, I'm on to DDG. Haley Bailey's dumbass boyfriend.
Yeah, I don't see both of their tastes in rappers is weird. Maybe not be bad, but it's weird. DDG and Gunna, it's a weird lineup. It's a weird lineup. I'm not gonna call it bad, but I'm gonna call it weird.
Oh my God!
Like you could do better.
Waiting on the DDG the DDG feature on one of Gunna's tracks.
No, never.
Well, also yeah, that was about to say. Yeah.
But no
track coming out no time soon.
Well, a lot of people think that Chloe is also dating Drewski now. I don't know if that's true. They did a couple of videos together.
So she broke up with Gunna and she on the Drewski?
A lot of people say...
I need to stop fucking with these hood niggas. I need me a funny guy.
A lot of people think that Chloe just recently found out that she looks good at all. And so she keeps doing all this corny shit, which would probably explain her choice.
That's what happens
rappers.
when you mature in the public eye.
Yeah.
When you're like a teenage celebrity
you were
coming
like
into
super
your
young, and then all of a sudden...
It's kind of what happens. It gets a little awkward for a while, but then people readjust.
Which would explain Gunna happens to show up out of nowhere at an award show, says something to her, and she immediately clings to him.
That's her. They go together real bad now.
Oh, yes. Yep, exactly.
Oh, shit. Yeah, but no, DDG's an idiot. Because I didn't realize racism was still a thing. I thought Martin Luther King canceled that shit.
Every once in a while, we get reminded like how terribly racist America still is.
Yeah, I didn't know people was this racist. I didn't know this was.
Neither did I, dude.
I thought this shit was gone already. I thought that shit was gone. I thought Martin Luther King canceled that shit out.
Listen to me, Gen Z, right? Gen Z,
probably. Yeah.
Get your fucking shit together. If y'all don't straighten up, everything it means to be black gonna be totally different by the time I'm in my 40s and 50s. It is not gonna be recognizable. Stand up. Stand up.
Stand up. Stand up.
Read a book. Do a Google search. Watch a YouTube playlist. Do something. Because I swear to God, I am starting to think that you niggas are more and more lost every day. Every time one of y'all open up y'all mouth to say something that even sounds slightly progressive, I slap my fucking forehead. Because this shit is getting perilous.
You're totally generalizing against Gen Z right now.
No. This is 100% empirical. Every Gen Zer I have ever talked about politics with has left me utterly disappointed.
You're totally generalizing your own experiences against Gen Z right now.
I don't care. They are pissing me off, and they're selling off pieces of the culture. They out here written out the N-word. They don't give a fuck about nothing no more. Racism is canceled by MLK. I'm tired of y'all. I'm also tired of reading patriarchy takes from 17 and 18-year-olds. Excuse me, fam. Patriarchy is still paying all your bills. So shut up. You haven't even experienced anything yet. You ain't worked nowhere. You ain't been discriminated against for anything. You ain't doing nothing. You waking up, going to school, coming back home, and eating mommy's dinner. Stop repeating feminist takes that you hear on YouTube, on Twitter.
That's funny.
That is not where this was supposed to go. But goddamn, I'm tired of them. If you under the age of 25 right now, you on my shit list.
Damn. Shout out to all of our younger than 25 crowd, all of our squad homies.
No, y'all needed a tongue thrashing. Get that man together. Shit.
It's not all of you.
I have to give another L up to our local talent here from 106.7, DJ Ketchup. Or DJ, not DJ Ketchup. He has the Ketchup show. It's DJ
I don't remember. It's been a while since I listened to the radio.
Damn it.
Catch up.
Yeah, that guy. He knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm riding, picking up my son from school.
I'm riding through New York.
And they've got on some financial counselors.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
And the topic of discussion is the student loan forgiveness.
DJ IQ.
DJ IQ. There we go. My boy. So the topic of discussion with these financial counselors is, what should you do with your $10,000 student loan forgiveness? Josh, I shit you not.
Uh-oh.
They were convincing people that instead of paying this is the setup. So just listen to how it goes. Instead of paying your bill with that $10,000, you can invest it and make more money on that $10,000.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
For those of us that aren't following, they want people to take the $10,000 student loan forgiveness that they're getting and put it into properties and businesses. Are you ninjas convinced that the $10,000 loan forgiveness is going to be a $10,000 check that's written to you? So let's do this again. Let's just break it down. So you owe somebody $50,000 in student loans. You're getting $10,000 of it forgiven. You think you getting a check to spend on something else?
Whew. I don't have $10,000. That's why I need it forgiven.
Fam, I shit you not. They were up there having legitimate conversation like, yeah, I mean, you can go ahead and pay that bill if you want to, but it ain't gonna make you nothing. That's a sunken cost. Yeah, see what you want to do is you want to invest and make your money grow. You see, and we help people do that.
Ugh.
I have never been more embarrassed. Like, you know how people was embarrassed over the slap? I was so embarrassed that they was on the radio saying that because I knew that they were black, and I was just embarrassed for all of us at that moment.
Yeah, that's tough. That's oof.
IQ, come on, man. Your name is IQ. Come on, fam. You couldn't have been sitting there listening unless I was just fucking missing something. But when I heard the words, what should you do with your $10,000 of student loan forgiveness, and then heard them niggas talking about investing it, I just got really confused.
That shit is a stimulus check.
So maybe I was just fucked up in the situation. Maybe I'll go back and listen to some shit and hear it differently. But what I heard is they were trying to convince people that they were going to get a $10,000 check.
That's a $10,000 tax return for your ass.
My God.
Oh
my
man.
God.
That's fucking hilarious.
I'm gonna hold off on our toss up here for a second because I didn't know if I was gonna talk about this, but I think I need to, just so I can get it off my chest and I can just leave it where it's at. Right? First off, let me say this. I am paying the due level of deference to Emmanuel Noisette, for what we've always paid deference to him for, starting the petition, going on the campaign, doing the work, getting his face seen, getting the message out.
Mm-hmm.
No qualms there. One of the things that we've talked about and that I have personally discussed with E-Man in terms of what we do to support this movie, one of the things that I've always maintained is that ultimately, if you're willing to pay for it, you really don't have any room to complain. That's just my thought. That's my personal opinion. Now, I know there's people who are pro Recast T'Challa who are going to go see the movie, and that's all well and good. You know, that's just the reason why I'm choosing not to support it. So that's one thing, paying for it. And you can decide whether or not you want to give your dollar to it. And I'm not holding anything against you on that. I just feel like if you pay for it, you kind of can't really complain. Now, a step further from paying for it, and that would put you, again, in my opinion, would put you in conflict and calling for something like what we're calling for with Recast T'Challa, is promoting it. Yeah. That's where we cross that threshold of objectivity to subjectivity. That is subjectively in contradiction to you calling a studio to recast a character because you believe it's going to be detrimental to not just that franchise, but who that franchise was supposed to represent. Mm-hmm. If that's your stance, you're in direct conflict if you're promoting the movie. In my opinion, holding a watch party for 100 people, buying out a theater, literally contributing financially, but also E-Man has a channel of almost 100,000 followers that he is signaling to now
that it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Especially after the trailer that we got that actively promoted the death.
That's well, you know what I'm saying? Look, I'll let him deal with that. You know what I'm saying? I asked that question specifically for a reason. If you're going to come up with a rationale for yourself that makes it comfortable for you to go back on that, that's not for me to say either way. I asked the question, you answered. What you do with that from then on is 100% up to you. But it's out there. It's out there. And to me, throwing a watch party for Wakanda Forever, it's in conflict with what it is you're asking them for. And furthermore than that, I think as much as E-Man and others, within the Recast T'Challa movement have wanted to keep it civil and keep this as, as he says, a movement of love, I think we've always realized that we're meeting opposition, right? This isn't something that we're all sitting around holding hands singing Kumbaya. There's a realization there that this is naturally combative. Mm-hmm. And so I guess my question is, how does this help? How does this help? If after all of the signatures, after all the videos made, the anthems made, after all of the cries, the tweets, the interviews, right? The pro recast, celebrity figures, after all of that, we're still going to go out in our garbs and our costumes and support it and go see it multiple times and pay for other people to see it.
I don't know.
So then what is the point? What's the point? Then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What does it matter then? If you're going to do everything for this movie that you did for the first movie, what does it matter? And again, I'm not attacking, bro. I have the utmost respect for E-Man. We've talked multiple times. We've had him on the program. No beef. I just think he's wrong. I think he's making a mistake. And I don't think it could be any clearer as to why. If you are going to show ultimate support, bar none, with no adjustment whatsoever, there was a red line and now there's not for some reason or another. And I can't answer that question as to why there's not anymore. But if you are going to go so far as to promote the movie to your closest loved ones, where's the fervor to fight the direction of the Black Panther franchise where it's going right
even
now?
The slightest of change?
Where is the motivation to continue to fight for this? I know where it lands with me because it was never, no disrespect, but it was never about E-Man. For me.
He's just a man who.
Yeah, he the guy that made the petition.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see how this furthers the cause. If we want to continue to make the comparisons back to the civil rights movement or whatever, would it have benefited anybody within the civil rights movement to support a pro-segregationist event, to give money to it, to get tickets and to bring all their family around it? Even if you're not trying to be the most radical in the way that you're going about it, does it behoove you to be in lockstep with the promotion of the film? Having a watch party, renting out a theater is absolutely being in lockstep with the promotion of the film. You're going to do it during the opening weekend. You're going to promote the film. You have a platform by which you will be doing that. Whether you see it like that or not, I guess we could have a difference of opinion, but I think that's pretty clear in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Give us your thoughts. Also, give us your dubs and L's for the week. Make sure you comment and prompt below, and also like, share, and subscribe. Come back next Wednesday for a brand new dubs and L's.
And make sure you check out our previous dubs and L's, kind of catch up on what we've been talking about in previous weeks. And make sure you subscribe because we like to do this every Wednesday at 10 o'clock.